Hello and welcome to a new jazz theory lesson. In this video we are going to build a very useful and simple reference tool to look up any church mode in any key. We call this tool the Circle of Church Modes. Furthermore, the Circle of Church Modes will award you with a great fundamental understanding of the very nature of the church modes, because in a very precise and simple manner, the tool shows you how all the modes are connected and related to each other. Okay, let's get started assembling the Circle of Church Modes. We are going to use this print, a scissor, 2 shirt buttons, some sewing thread and a needle. Okay, first you have to print out this paper. I will paste a link to the PDF document in the description below. The result will be best if you use photo paper, because photo paper is thicker than normal printing paper. Okay, first we cut out the 2 circles. Okay, cutting in paper does not have anything to do with music theory, but I promise we will get there soon, and we will surely benefit from the effort later on. But let's speed up this cutting process a little bit. Now we have 2 discs, a large disc and a smaller disc. The idea is that these 2 discs are going to rotate upon one another, like this. So we have to connect them, and for that we are going to use the sewing thread, needle and the 2 shirt buttons. First, we punch a hole in the center of each disc using the needle. The center is marked with a little pink dot. So we punch a hole here and here. Then we take a U-turn with the thread through one of the buttons. Like this. Then we tie a knot like this. And let's make another one. And then we thread the needle . And then we stick the needle through the button, like this. So we have the end piece of the thread on the opposite side of the needle. Okay? Okay, then we stick the needle through the center hole on the back of this disc. Like this. And then we do the same thing with the other disc. And then we take a U-turn through the other button. And then we go back again. Like this. And then, oh, what's going on here? Yes. And then we go, take a U-turn and go the other way. We just have to get this away. And we just repeat this process. I surely hope that you can find 2 shirt buttons like these somewhere. I just had a really ugly shirt lying around, and exchanging one ugly shirt for this amazing tool should be a really good deal for any musician. Let's speed up this process a little bit. And having done this a couple of times, we take the thread out of the needle on the back side of the disc. And we tighten the sewing thread and tie a knot with the starting piece of the thread. And let's make another one. And then we cut off the loose ends. And now we are done, and the upper disc can spin upon the lower disc. I guess there are many ways to connect the 2 discs. I just chose the button and sewing thread solution because this works great, and it's easy to acquire some spare buttons and some sewing thread and a needle. If you guys come up with other solutions as well, you are very welcome to share them in the comments below. So, now we come to the very interesting part. How does this circle of church modes works? Well, the lower disc is showing you all 7 church modes: Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, and Locrian. The upper disc is showing you an image of all 12 piano keys inside an octave, 7 white keys, and 2 plus 3 black keys. So here we have an octave. And the note names are also written on each key: C, C sharp or D flat, D, D sharp or E flat, E, F, and so on. Now the trick is very simple. We just choose a church mode on the lower disc and a key note on the upper disc and point them together. Let's say we want to locate the C Ionian scale. Then we find the Ionian text on the lower disc, there, and then we turn the upper disc, making the keynote C pointing to the Ionian arrow. So we just have to find C here. And now all the keys of the C Ionian are pointed out by the 7 modes. So the C Ionian scale contains the notes C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. Aha! Okay, let's make another example. Now we want to locate the C Mixolydian. Then we just find the Mixolydian text on the lower disc and point the C note to the Mixolydian arrow. Where are you, C? There. And now all the keys of the C Mixolydian are pointed out by the 7 modes. So the C Mixolydian scale contains the notes C, D, E, F, G, A, and B flat. Notice that we use the B flat name of this black key because we can't use the A sharp name. That will be wrong because we have already used the A letter. And a note letter cannot appear twice in the same church mode. That is not allowed. So in this case, it is the B note that is lowered down to the B flat note. Then we also have the correct alphabetic order, A, B, C, without repeating any letter. Okay, another example. The G Lydian. Lydian, and the note G, and whoopsie. Whoops. The G Lydian contains the following notes. Oops. Here we have it. Sorry. G, A, B, C sharp, D, E, and F sharp. Another example. F sharp Locrian. Locrian. F sharp. Here we have it. And the notes are F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, and E. Okay? I hope you get the idea now. So, with this circle of church modes in your hand, you can actually, very fast and very easy, locate all 7 modes in all 12 keys. Now, let's move on and talk about how this tool exposes the very nature of the church modes. Just by fooling around with this tool and spin it around, we can get a grip of how all the church modes are interrelated. So, now we will try to understand the very system that orders all the 7 church modes. Now, let's set the device to the C Ionian mode. Ionian, C. Now we can observe that the C Ionian contains all the white keys because the 7 modes are pointing at C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. So let's try to let the upper disk stay fixed and then turn the lower disk to the next mode, the D Dorian mode. And we discover that the D Dorian contains the same keys as the C Ionian because we haven't turned the upper disk. All 7 modes are still pointing to all the white keys. Okay? The same goes for E Phrygian. All 7 modes are still pointing out all the white keys. And then we have the F Lydian. Still, all the white keys is pointed out. G Mixolydian, all the white keys. Aeolian, A Aeolian, all the white keys. And B Locrian, the same keys. Right? So, do you get the idea? All the 7 church modes are actually just a rotation of each other. If we turn the lower disk and let the upper disk stay fixed on the same tonality, then all the 7 modes contain the same 7 keys. The different modes just have different starting points. So when Ionian starts on C, then Dorian, Ionian on C, then Dorian starts on D, Phrygian on E, Lydian on F, and so on. In music theory, we use the expression that the modes are in different degrees of each other. if the Ionian mode is the first degree. Then the Dorian mode is the second degree. So Ionian first degree, Dorian second degree, because Dorian starts on the second step on the Ionian scale. Phrygian third degree, because Phrygian starts on the third step on the Ionian scale. Lydian fourth degree, Mixo fifth degree, Aeolian sixth degree, and finally Locrian seventh degree, because the Locrian scale starts on the seventh step on the Ionian scale. Okay, in this case, the church modes were pointing out all the white keys to make my explanation as simple as possible. But notice that no matter how we set the tonality on the upper disk, the modes are still ordered in the same manner. Everything is just transposed. Okay, now we could of course talk a lot more about the church modes, but notice that this simple tool actually gives you all the answers. Firstly, you can look up any church mode in any tonality. Secondly, the tool illustrates in a very simple manner how all the modes are connected and related. So now you are ready to explore the church modes on your own and play around with this circular system. So I will recommend that you build this circle and you make a cup of good coffee, put yourself in a nice soft chair and just look at this circle for a while. Set a tonality. Turn the lower disc around. And just watch and think about how the different modes are related. This very simple tool gives you all the answers. Then you should of course also go to your instrument. Try the modes out. How do they sound? Even though all the modes can be placed on the same circular system and they are just different degrees of each other, they actually sound very different. Okay, in another lesson from New Jazz you can hear more about the church modes. I will paste a link in the description below. Thanks for listening. My name is Oliver Prehn, and I surely hope that you liked this lesson and you found this simple tool inspiring and useful. And please, always feel free to ask questions in the comments below. I will try to answer as quickly as possible. So, enjoy exploring the church modes.